This patient previously had a cholesteatoma in the superior posterior quadrant of her eardrum, which is the top rear of her eardrum, and that cholesteatoma caused erosion of the bony part of the ear canal. The patient also underwent further surgery to remove some of the mastoid bone because that got infected because of the cholesteatoma. A cholesteatoma is a collection of dead skin that collects in a pocket at the top of the eardrum in the pars lucida, or what we call the attic. That pocket is created by a retraction of the eardrum due to typically eustachian tube dysfunction. So the eustachian tube is a narrow orifice behind the eardrum, so in the middle ear, that connects to the back of the nose, the nasopharynx. And the function of the eustachian tube is twofold. It acts as a drain pipe, so any fluid or effusion that accumulates behind the eardrum can drain away. But as I mentioned, it's also the pressure equalizer. So if you imagine you're on an aeroplane, and as you descend on the aircraft, the air pressure is so great it causes the eardrum to buckle inwards, and we normally perform the valsalva. So we close our mouth, pinch our nose and blow. We trap that air inside our nose, and that air travels up the nasal passage, up the eustachian tube, and it pops the eardrum back out. However, in some people, that eustachian tube can get blocked, and it typically gets blocked at the back of the nose. And when that eustachian tube is blocked, it creates a vacuum, so there's no air in the middle ear. So that eardrum gets sucked inwards, and it creates a pocket at the top of the eardrum in the attic. And as dead skin sheds, normally it would migrate out of the ear, but this dead skin then collects in that pocket, and eventually that dead skin, that keratin, can develop into a cholesteatoma, and that cholesteatoma can be quite dangerous because it can start eroding the ear canal, the mastoid bone, but also enter the middle ear, also the temporal bone, and it can lead to quite serious conditions. So this patient previously had that, and they had it removed, and it's caused an enlarged cavity. And actually this piece of wax was lodged. So I've not focused too much on the actual procedure, but you'll become very apparent in a moment when I remove this wax what I'm referring to. And I don't think I've uploaded a video showing an eardrum like this before, and an enlarged medial external auditory meatus. So external auditory meatus is the name given to the ear canal, and medial is deep in the ear. And you can see there, you can see the eardrum. There's a bit of dead skin, a bit of wax on the side that I'm going to remove. But what I've actually done is, I know I've got quite a few medical students that subscribe to my channel, and also some audiology students. And I've actually taken a still image of the eardrum and the anatomy, and I've annotated it. Retrospectively, I wish I took the image using my Otocam, which is a video otoscope, but it's great for still images. But what I've actually used here is my iClearScope. The iClearScope is fantastic for videos, but it doesn't really give great still images. Decent enough, but so that image there, in a moment, you will get for those students or anyone else that's interested. You will, and here's a quick still image, but later on at the end of the video, I have annotated it, I've labelled it. It's quite interesting to see all the structure of the eardrum, and also the middle ear ossicles. So there's three ossicles. The ossicles are the middle ear bones. They're the smallest bones in the body. The more widespread known as the hammer, anvil and stirrup. Medically, the hammer bone is called the malleus, the anvil is called the incus, and the stirrup is called the stapes bone. And those bones, they vibrate in response to sound hitting the eardrum. And the last of the bone, the stapes, is connected to the organ of hearing, the cochlea, and it's that bone, as that vibrates, it stimulates fluid, fluid that's located in the organ of hearing, the cochlea, which then causes the fluid to travel in waves, which then in turn causes tiny little hair cells, what we call the outer hair cells in the organ of hearing, to contract and vibrate, and they then produce an electrical signal which is sent to the brain, and we process that as sound. So the hearing pathway is quite complex, and it's all integrated. You've got the outer ears, which are typically, when I'm removing wax, we're trying to deal with the outer ear, remove any wax or infection, so sound can travel through. The sound then hits the eardrum, and the eardrum vibrates, and it sets these ossicles, these bones, backwards and forwards like a pendulum. which in then turn stimulates little hair cells in the organ of hearing, and from which the brain processes sound. So here's a diagram, and I've been able to annotate quite a few of the middle ear structures as well. Not all of them, but it's quite a fascinating case, and I was able to distinguish some of these. So just for the med students or audiology students, or even some of the members of the public might find this really interesting. So I hope I've got all of it correct. The patient did report to me that they previously had a grommet as well. And a grommet is designed to ventilate the middle ear. So when that eustachian tube is blocked, because air can't enter the middle ear via the back of the nose, a hole is then punctured into the eardrum, and any fluid that has accumulated that can't drain away from the eustachian tube is vacuumed and suctioned out. And the ENT surgeon then puts a ventilation tube called a grommet, also called T-tubes, and that allows air to enter the middle ear via the outer ear canal as opposed to the back of the nose. I hope you enjoyed that video, guys. I just thought it was a good one. It's a client that I saw today, and I thought, why not upload this this video? I've not done don't think I've done a really educational one like this before.